Hello, everyone. Good day. We are the group 4, and I am about to tell you a story about Chapter 8, Noli Tangere, published in Berlin in 1887. Legendary Santa Claus. Dr. Maximo Viola, Rizal's friend from Bulacan, arrived in Berlin at the height of his despondency and loaned him the needed funds to publish the novel. The idea of writing a novel on the Philippines. Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin, book which portrays the brutalities of American slave, the owners and the pathetic conditions of the unfortunate Negro slaves. A book that inspired Dr. Rizal to prepare a novel that would depict the miseries of the Filipinos under Spanish rule. Madrid on January 2, 1884. Rizal proposed the writing of a novel about the Philippines, which then approved by Paternos, Pedro, Maximino, and Antonio, Graciano Lopez Jaena, Evaristo Aguirre, Eduardo Dilete, Julio Lorente, Melicio Figueroa, Valentin Ventura. It also happened in Madrid on January 2, 1884. Rizal's project did not materialize due to compatriots who were expected to collaborate in the novel did not write anything. However, most of them wanted to write on women who wasted their time in gambling or flirting with Spanish señoritas. He was disgusted and decided to write the novel alone. The writing of the Noli. Paris in 1885 completed his studies in the Central University of Madrid and continued writing the novel. He finished one half of the second half of the chapters. He also finished the last fourth of the novel in Germany, wrote the last few chapters of Noli in Wilhelmsfeld from April to June 1886. Viola, savior of the Noli. Maximo Viola arrived in Berlin a day before Christmas Day of 1887. He was shocked when he found Rizal living in poverty and deplorably sick due to lack of nourishment. Seeing his friend's struggle and poor condition, he gladly lent him a hand. He loaned him some cash for living expenses and as well as funding the printing costs of his novel. After Christmas season, Rizal put the finishing touches on his novel. To save printing expenses, he deleted certain passages in chapter of Elias and Salome. February 21, 1887, the novel was finally finished and ready for printing. They managed to find cheap printing shop, Berliner Buchdruckerei, Action Gesellschaft, charging them with only 300 pesos for 2,000 copies of the novel. Rizal suspected as French spy. In old days of travel, it was possible to travel from another country without having a passport. These lead the German police to suspect as a French spy because Rizal doesn't have any passport to show. However, Viola quickly accompanied Rizal to the Spanish embassy to seek help from the Spanish ambassador. But the ambassador failed to keep his promise due to that he had no power to issue the passport. Being fluent in German language, he explained to the police chief that he was not a French spy, but was a Filipino physician and scientist. The chief was impressed by his explanation and fascinated by his mastery of the German language and personal charisma, so the police chief allowed him to stay freely in Germany. Printing of the Noli finished. March 21, 1887, the Noli Tangere came off the press. Immediately, Rizal sent the first copies to his close friends, which are Blumentritt, Dr. Antonio Maria Regidor, G. Lopez Jaena, Mariano Ponce, and Felix Hidalgo. On March 29, 1887, Rizal gave Viola de Galli proofs of the Noli carefully rolled around the pen that he used in writing the novel in a complimentary copy. The title of the novel, Noli me tangere, is a Latin phrase which means touch me not. It is, however, not originally conceived by Rizal, for he admitted taking it from the Bible. On March 5, 1887, Rizal wrote to Felix R. Hidalgo and said, "The words were taken from the Gospel of St. Luke, signify, 'Do not touch me.' However, Rizal made a mistake. It should be the Gospel of John, chapter 20, verses 13 to 17. Rizal dedicated his Noli me tangere to the Philippines, to my fatherland." Synopsis of the Noli. The characters: Capitan Tiago, Santiago de los Santos, father of Maria Clara and a friend of Ibarra. Crisostomo Ibarra, a young and rich Filipino who had just returned after 7 years of study in Europe. The only son of Don Rafael Ibarra, a fiancé of Maria Clara. Padre Damaso, a fat Franciscan friar who had been parish priest for 20 years of San Diego, Calamba. Padre Sibila, a young Dominican parish priest of Binondo. Señor Guevara, an elderly and kind lieutenant of the Guardia Civil. Don Tiburcio de Espadanya, a bogus Spanish physician, lame and henpecked husband of Doña Victoria. Maria Clara, a childhood faithful sweetheart of Crisostomo Ibarra, a good friend and obedient daughter. She symbolizes purity and innocence of a sheltered native woman. Padre Salve, Franciscan parish priest of San Diego. Tasio the philosopher, Pilosopo Tasio, wise old man whose ideas were to advance for his time, so that the people who could not understand him and called him Tasio the lunatic. Don Filippo Lino, the tenant, mayor, and leader of the liberal faction. Don Melchor, the captain of the cuadrilleros, or the town police. Don Basilio and Don Valentin, former Gobernador Silos and were prominent citizens. Sisa, the tale of Sisa, formerly a rich girl who married a deranged mother gambler and became poor. She is also the mother of Basilio and Crispin. Basilio, an acolyte or servant tasked to ring the church bells for the Angelus, accused of crimes he did not commit. Crispin, an altar boy and who was as well accused of stealing money from the church. Doña Consolacion, the vulgar mistress of the Spanish alferez. Doña Victorina, the flamboyantly dressed wife of a henpecked Spanish quack doctor. Elias, distrust human judgment and prefer God's justice instead. He prefers a revolution over the reforms. Pia Alba, a young, beautiful, and spiritual woman, Maria Clara's mother. Gobernador General, occupies the second most powerful rank in the colonial government. Second only to the king, supported Ibarra against Padre Damaso. Alferez, lieutenant of the Guardia Civil. Alfonso Linares, cousin of Don Tiburcio and godson of Padre Damaso's brother-in-law. The Noli based on truth. A true story of Philippine condition during the last decades of Spanish rule. The places, the characters, and the situations really existed. The characters were all drawn by Rizal persons who actually existed. The characters in reality: Maria Clara, Leonor Rivera, Ibarra and Elias, represented by Rizal himself, Tasio the philosopher, elder brother of Rizal Pasiano, Padre Salve, Padre Antonio Pernavieja, Capitan Chago, Capitan Hilario Sonico, Doña Victorina, Doña Agustina Midel, Basilio and Crispin were the Crisostomo brothers of Hagonoy. Padre Damaso, typical domineering friar, arrogant, immoral, and anti-Filipino. The missing chapter of the Noli. In the original manuscript of Noli me Tangere, there was a chapter entitled Elias and Salome, which follows chapter 24 in the woods. Deleted by Rizal, so it was not included in the printed novel. His reason was definitely economic, by reducing the chapter with its cost of printing. Rizal's friends praised the Noli. Friends of Rizal hailed the novel, praising it in the glowing colors. However, Rizal's enemies condemned it. Rizal wrote to Blumentritt, "The government and the friars will probably attack the work, refuting my statements, but I trust in the truth and in the person who have actually seen our sufferings." Blumentritt read Rizal's novel and praised and said, "As we Germans say written with the blood of the heart, and so the heart also speaks." Rizal being an extraordinary person. Dr. Antonio Maria Regidora, Filipino patriot and lawyer exiled due to his complicity in the Cavitivite mutiny and was very much impressed of 1872, avid reader Noli. These are the group members of Group 4. And again, those are the special events or the important events that happened in Chapter 8, Noli me Tangere, published in Berlin in 1887. Thank you for listening.